Okay, we are joined by our final Hall of Fame inductee, and that is Dale Earnhardt Jr. Dale, maybe just open up with some comments. You've talked about how much you were looking forward to this night. How was this night for you? Was it everything you had hoped for?
It was better than I imagined. I thought that I was so nervous. I had such severe anxiety this mid-afternoon about my speech, and but I'll be honest with you, when Amy was up on stage, and I love, everything that I do, whenever I'm going to do something that's going to make me nervous, if I can have her there, it really takes the edge off. And so I didn't think about it, but once I got up there, I'm like, oh man, I feel awesome because Amy's here. She's standing right there, and it put me right at ease. And so I wanted to be able to go up there and deliver a speech and feel comfortable enough to be myself and not get so nervous that I just sounded like a robot up there. And so I was happy how it all went, and it was great to listen to the other speeches, and the whole ceremony was really enjoyable. I thought the Hall of Fame did an excellent job, and it's just a fun night. I've been to these before. They're enjoyable. I love the history, so I could sit there and listen to these guys talk all night long and you're learning about the sport. And so that was a great experience. And then I got to get up there and give some people some credit that have been part of my career. It was nice to be able to shine a light on some folks tonight.
Great. Thank you, Dale. If you have a question for Dale, raise your hand. You just shout from your seat. Jordan, did you raise your hand? Yeah. I think it's funny you mentioned Richard. Richard Petty, when I was a young boy, I heard it said time and time again. Richard Petty sets the standard for how you interact with the fans and how you treat the fans. Richard Petty was at the racetrack till dark, signing autographs. Richard Petty was at the racetrack till the last person come through the line, hours after the race was over with and the place would be empty. You heard those stories time and time again, and that was the example you followed. And so, I think a little bit of that was kind of a small part of that, but also, I was very, I feel like that trying to come out from under my dad's shadow, I was really honest and transparent from the very early part of my career, trying to tell people, who I was, that I was nothing like Dad, and that trying to say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I like. These are the things that interest me. And I think being that way, a lot of people felt a connection and being able to relate, having been so honest, and just put myself out there way before social media was a thing. That went a long way, and these people that come to the racetrack and cheer for you or that were there tonight, they feel like they know you, and they feel like that they grew up with you, and so I think it's I encourage other drivers and other guys in our sport and our industry to be that way, to really share themselves, share as much of their lives as they're comfortable with, to help people understand them and know who they are. The ups, the downs, the emotional stuff, all the things that make you human, right? Oh. Well, that's absolutely the case. When I was struggling, and I mentioned that in my speech, I thought that every race I lost, somebody was in the grandstands pulling my shirt off and putting somebody else's on. And I feared that, and I felt one of my things that bothers me the most is letting anybody down. And I've put my fans through some tough situations. And they would have to go to work and hear it from the other fans. I heard about the stories. I had to go to work and listen to this guy go on and on about the other driver that won the race. And so I know they grind through that experience, and they're loyal. And I can relate to that, I've been a fan of Washington, the football team, since '82. And, like any sports team, they have their lows and their highs, but you stick with them, I saw something on the internet the other day. A boy chooses his favorite team and then spends the rest of his life letting that make him miserable. And that's true. But and so I know that the fans, they want you to win every week, but you're only going to win a few times. And those other races, they gotta deal with either that disappointment or that what could have been. And so I always thought about that when I was racing. And I mentioned it with Claire B on Sirius. When social media became a part of our lives, I was able to really live all that right at my fingertips. You could win a race and be on the internet in seconds and really talking straight directly to fans about exactly what you just did and what happened. And you would share that elation with them. We never had that opportunity before, right? Other than the people at the racetrack. But you could get on the phone and be celebrating what just happened moments ago with hundreds or thousands of people that were all equally as excited and thrilled about what you did. And then when you'd run bad, the first place you'd go to was the internet or social media, because the fans would be there to pick you up. I mean, literally after the race is over with, you're going to get them next week. That's a great track next weekend. And I'm like, man, you guys are smarter than I am. I wish I could feel that way, right? And you'd take those words and turn yourself around emotionally, You'd take a loss home and spend days stewing over it. But, you get on Twitter and it'd turn you right around and, get you right back up on the saddle and ready to go, because you knew you had people behind you.
Bob, and then Jerry.
Man, there's not one, Bob. There's a few. I just was so happy to be able to, the fireside chat with Kyle was great. I was able to share I've told Mike Helton and Rick all the things that I feel about them. I've told them that before. But it's fun to tell them how you feel. It's fun to tell somebody you love them, and it's fun to tell somebody that they matter to you and then share a story. So that was really cool. And then when I was up on stage, I felt comfortable enough to actually look these people in the eye while I was talking about them, especially Tony Sr. I don't, for a long time there, I spent day after day with that man in the racing in the Xfinity Series and in the Cup Series with the Bud car. And one of my biggest regrets, and I've said this before, one of my biggest regrets in my professional career was thinking that making a change in his position as a crew chief was what we needed to do. And me supporting that decision is without question my biggest regret in my racing career, because I was not only coming off a successful year in 2004, but I needed his leadership, and so did the team. And so it was so nice to be able to look him in the eye and tell him that I think about him every day, and that the decisions that I make in my life are influenced by him, and that he matters, at least to me. And I'm glad that I got to share that with him, right? Because we don't see each other, and we're never going to sit down and take the time to really have that conversation. And I feel like in tonight's setting, in front of all those people, I was able to drive the point home.
Jerry?
It was 2008, going to drive for Rick and meeting Amy. Those two things coincidentally kind of happened around the same time in my life. And being around Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, watching them prepare, watching the teams prepare, listening to the expectations of each other individually. I mean, I thought I was a race car driver until I went there, and I learned, man, I really am not applying all of the resources that are available to me. And it really was an eye-opening experience to work in such a place with so much success, and to really see how they make that success happen. So that was pretty incredible. And then right at that same time, I met Amy, and I've been a work in progress in that regard. And fortunate for me, Amy's stuck it out. All these years. I had a long way to go to really become the man that she needed me to be, and the husband that she needs me to be. And I feel like that we've come a long way, and it's been absolutely rewarding. And so I think those two things coupled together changed me quite a bit. And I think, of course, going and becoming a dad and all that, all those things are life altering. And Amy's still by my side, and we're, every day gets better. All the cliches, I mean, they're real. And so we have so much to look forward to, and so that makes you excited and makes you want to be present and in the moment. Texas, the Texas girls are convincing, but I want to say, man, when I didn't know, I thought I knew what I might be getting when me and Amy decided to get married, but what I gained from her family, from her, her Texas roots, was really special, and I love them, and I love going to visit them, and I love, it's like a second home. I feel like part of that family, and so I never anticipated how amazing that part of it would be. So I'm pretty proud of my Texas roots, I guess. Having won my first race there and all. A lot of great things have happened to me in that state.
Alex?
Yeah. Yeah. During Mrs. Stefanik's speech, I was very emotional, knowing how important that moment was for her. It was difficult not to feel something, right? And knowing everything that she's been through over the last couple of years, it was pretty powerful to listen to her words. And Reds was really entertaining. Don't know that I remember any really emotional moments with him, but I was thinking when I was listening to Mrs. Stefanik's speech, I was like, man, if I'm getting emotional now, I'm really going to have a hard time during my speech. And listening to some of the words from Rick and Mike when we were doing the fireside chat, that was tough. And I thought, well, I'm going to have to stand on stage and look out there and see some of these people that I'm going to talk about, and I might break up trying to talk about them, trying to share with them my emotions. But it didn't happen. I'm glad, because I wanted to, when you get choked up, sometimes you lock up, and sometimes you can't get going again. And in your point, you kind of lose your momentum, and your what you're trying to convey gets lost. But I need to go watch the speech again, because I felt very monotone and robotic, but I want to watch it again so I can see how I did. As soon as I get done, it's funny, I want to go right to Amy and say, hey, did I make any mistake? It's like the first thing I want to do as soon as I'm done at the microphone is go, hey, did I say anything wrong? Because I don't even remember what came out of my mouth. It's crazy. It's all a blur.
Have you been thinking a lot about this night, this moment, leading up to it, too? I mean, was it worth the wait?
Yeah, I know. I was really thankful that the Hall of Fame decided to do this. They had all types of alternatives that they could have done something virtual, and having the, I guess having the patience to hold off future inductions. There's people that are so looking forward to that opportunity to go on that stage, and whoever that future class may be has had to also wait and be patient. And so a lot of people had to really take some sacrifice and wait this one out. So I'm very thankful that the Hall of Fame decided to do that to allow us all to have an authentic experience. I was really worried about that because it was really important to me that the people that could be there in the room be there and be present. And it was also awesome that we were able to hear some fans cheering and hear some enthusiasm from their side. As we mentioned on, during the speech, it's awesome that they're in the room with you. So that was all because of, the Hall of Fame's wisdom and patience to pause and just wait this out and give us the opportunity to have a great time tonight.
Steve?
Dan, of all the accomplishments, most popular driver, Cup Series winner, NASCAR champion, NASCAR car winner champion, we could go on and on. Of all of those, what are you most proud of?
I know this sounds crazy, but or not crazy, but really cliche. The whole night is so full of cliches. Dad was very good. Dad won a lot of races, won a lot of championships, and he got into the Hall of Fame, I'm sure because of other reasons, but mainly on the back of all of the stats and success, right, he had on the racetrack. When I was racing, as the years started to trickle by, I thought, man, I'm not going to measure that success. A lot of people were wanting that for me, wishing that for me, wanting me to match him in every way, and it just wasn't going to happen. And I thought to myself, well, what do I do? How do I matter? If I can't just go out there and dominate and get a cool nickname like the Intimidator, how can I matter? How can I be an asset or be important? How can a guy like Mike Helton be glad that I'm part of what's happening today or part of the sport? And so I tried really hard to do that, in every way. Anyway, I chose every available avenue, staying on the racetrack, getting into ownership, getting into the broadcast booth, doing a podcast. And I do all those things to please a lot of people, but people like Mike, people like Steve O'Donnell, people like Tony Sr., people like Steve Tart, Rick Henry. I mean, the list is long, but I just tried to matter, and try to do something that do something that felt like, man, the sport's better, or this is helping the sport. This is entertaining either our current fans, or this is making new fans, or this is bringing back old fans. And so that's all I've tried to do. So I think that's something I'm most proud of, is that if you ask a guy like Mike Helton, he'll tell you that I mattered, and he'll tell you that I was an asset, and he'll tell you that I was helpful, and that I continue to be helpful. So I think that's the main motivation for me. And getting in that broadcast booth, if I knew that those fans weren't happy with that, I wouldn't do it, because I don't have to be there. But I want to be there because I think people enjoy it, and I think it helps. So that's kind of my motivation. Yep.
Any final questions for Dale? All right, Dale,
All right.
thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
y'all.